everyone, so today I'm going to be reviewing Paul McCartney's Tug of War albums. This is one of my favorites and it came to my head to review it, so let's get into it. So track number one is going to be the title track, Tug of War. I think this is a really nice title track. I love the instrumentation and the progression of it, his vocals and the lyrics. And I was curious about why he called his album Tug of War in the first place and just a little bit more behind the song and stuff like that. I actually found this online. Tug of War is supposed to be about opposites. I forget what you call it, dichotomy or something, the duality, yes and no, up and down, man and woman. Always some kind of conflict, even if you're married and in love, she's still a girl, you're still a boy. Blacks and white, dualities. It's not easy to bring together two sides of a coin, so that was like the question of, there was a theme on Tug of War that was the sort of theme we played with. So interesting. Back to his Take It Away. I think this is a catchy song. I really enjoyed, especially that first verse, whenever he's talking about lonely driver out on the road and like the way that he changes his vocal deliveries. And there's so many parts. There's a whole instrumental section, which I really love. And then there's another part where it kind of leads back into the chorus more. There's so many different parts of the song. I think he does all of it well. The instrumentation, the lyrics is really catchy. I love his voice on here. So great song on the album. I also love his attention to detail on the background vocals and the little parts that he puts on there. It's something that's nice to listen to. Track number three is Somebody Who Cares. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It's just saying no matter what you're going through, there's always somebody who's going to care about you and everything, and don't give up, that kind of sentiment. And so I think that it's a nice song, and I think it's kind of ironic how later he has a song called Who Cares on Egypt Station, where he's just talking about who care what the idiots say. But I like this song for what it is. It has some nice guitar parts and everything. Track number four is What's That You're Doing. So this is featuring Stevie Wonder, one of the two tracks with Stevie Wonder on the album. I don't really care for the song, to be honest with you. I tend to skip it. Re-listening to it for the videos the first time I listened to the song in I don't know how many years. Yeah, it just feels like a throwaway for me, and it sounds like the 80s in a bad way with other productions, and they were just doing anything. I think that their other contribution is better, but we'll get to that later. Track number five is Here Today, and so this is his tribute to John Lennon as a person. A chop, I will definitely say that. And so I think that this is a beautiful song. I listen to it sparingly because I feel like some songs, they're just meant to be listened to not that much. So you can kind of have the effect of the song still there when you listen to it. So that's how I feel about this song. And my favorite part is in the beginning, whenever he says, if you were here today, and then the ooh, 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 like his vocal in there, beautiful. Like it's just amazing, just fabulous in terms of that. And I think the guitar parts on here are absolutely fabulous. I learned how to play this on guitar. I have to relearn it, but it's not easy, but it's beautiful what he's doing on there. Lyrically, I think it's simple in a good way. It kind of has those personal elements tied into it. And one of my favorite parts was whenever he says, what about the night we cried because there wasn't any reason left to keep it all inside. Never understood a word, but you were always there with a smile. And if I say I really loved you and was glad you came along, then you were here today. Ooh, 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 for you were in my song. Ooh, 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 here today. Yeah, I'll put all the lyrics on the song on the screen because like there's just so many good ones. It feels wrong to leave it out, but a short but poignant song. And I feel like this song kind of represents the album cover more than anything else. He's there, he has his hands on his head. There's all those kind of blocks there. So to me, my interpretation, you know, from Paul's perspective would be like, there's just so much that happens to me. All I can really focus on is like my music to cope. Like that's the one thing I know, that's the one thing I understand. Kind of a haunting picture to look at in a sense. I really love the photo for this album cover. I love the album cover in general. But this song, it kind of feels like what the album cover is. Now, he said somewhere that this album isn't based on John Lennon. I think he started working on it before John Lennon passed away, and this was an addition. He probably had it in the back of his head when he was writing more songs. He said something like that, but yeah, this was his dedication. Definitely one of my favorite songs on the album. About the song, he says, I was kind of crying when I wrote Here Today. It's like a dialogue with John. One of my feelings, even when he used to lay into me, was that he really didn't mean it. I could always see why he was doing it. There was a spectrum of me, which I understand because he had to clear the decks just like I did. In the song, John would hear me saying that and say, oh, piss off, you don't even know me at all. We're worlds apart. You used to know me, but I've changed. But I feel that I still knew him. The song is me trying to talk back to him, but realizing the futility of it because he is no longer here, even though that's a fact I can't quite believe. Even to this day, the I love you part was hard to say. A part of me said, hold on, wait a minute, are you really going to do that? I finally said, yeah, I've got to, it's true. I think he kind of talks about this in one of those genius interviews that he did, talking about some songs that are important to him in his career, so I'll try to link that below if I remember it. Track number six is Ballroom Dancing. Stuff like this is why I love Paul McCartney. There's so much fun songs, and that's exactly what this song is. You know, kind of giving me shades of I've Just Seen a Face off of the Help album by the Beatles and stuff like that, just in terms of how much fun I have listening to it. So this stuff is like right in my alley for Paul McCartney. I love when he does music like this. And so yeah, instrumentation I thought was excellent. He has like kind of like a little solo part where there's a trumpet solo as a trumpet player myself. I really appreciate those little instrumentation moments and stuff like that. So I just thought it was fun to listen to. Even like Obla-Dee, Obla-Da, you know, kind of stuff like that. It's stuff in that wheelhouse, at least to me. That's kind of what it's reminiscent of, at least. About the song, he says, like most people, I've got memories that go back to when I was a teenager, like when George Harrison and I used to go to the local dance and neither of us would ever dare ask a girl to dance until the last waltz. It was then that we thought, oh God, we wasted all our money when all we came here for was to touch a girl. We've got to do it. Okay, let's come on. We're always too shy, but we'd always try and grab someone for that last dance. So most times we get refused. We never really got into ballroom dancing, but that was where you went if you wanted to dance. We'd go to the local Kano or the Grafton, all the big ballrooms. And with the Beatles, the ballroom circuit was a big circuit. We did a lot of ballrooms in our early career before we gravitated to the theaters. The song ballroom dancing was just little images you have as a kid, flying carpets, playing Davy Crockett, going down the Nile in a China cup, all these childhood images mixed up with this ballroom. It's a lot of little images involved growing up. So it's interesting to kind of learn more about his songs and like all the experiences that went into writing them. I feel like you kind of appreciate it more getting those little snapshots and everything. So I love this song. I do. It's one of my favorites. Track number 7, The Pound is Sinking. I like this because it kind of has a moody atmosphere to it, at least with the production and some vocal deliveries as well. And Paul doesn't really get into this bag. He normally does ballad or up-tempo songs. And so whenever he gets in this bag, I appreciate it. Think about stuff like Riding to Vanity Fair and the Chaos and Creation in the Backyard album, like stuff like that. I feel like that's more of a moody track than this is, but I like when he gets in this atmosphere because he doesn't do it often. So I appreciated this song. And so the guitars in here are great. The guitars in here are great, kind of reminiscent of stuff on the London Town album, like Cafe on the Left Bank. And so I really like it. I really like it. I think it's different than what he typically does. And the instrumentation, and I like that he has so many different pockets that he gets into, kind of changing the tempo all the way throughout the song and stuff like that. I think is cool. I really do appreciate it, especially the interlude part when he's like, I can't be held responsible now. And yeah, just so many cool things about the song. He says, when you are looking through the papers, you always see the headline saying the pound has moved a quarter of an inch today and the mark has made a surprising move today in the money markets. I see these pictures of all the hundreds of people on the phone saying, did it go up? Did it go down? But I've never really been into that. I'm not a big stocks and shares man just because it all seems so crazy. It's just a big gamble to me. I think it's funny how you see how the pound is sinking. No, it isn't. It's gone up, and against a dollar, it's in the whatever number that is or whatever. I think it's funny how everyone gets serious about something that is obviously just going to keep on altering the song. Pound is sinking laughs at how everyone gets so serious about it. So another interesting kind of tidbit behind the song. Track number 8 is Wanderlust. I think that this is a great ballad moment. Love the piano on here. Vocally, I feel like he shines kind of his typical balladry moment. So I appreciate it for what it is. I really, really do. I really like the bridge on here. He says, oh, where did I go wrong, my love? What petty crime was I found guilty of? What better time to find a brand new day? Oh, Wanderlust away. Like his vocal on that part, 8. He just sounds great. He just sounds great. I will say that the Give My Regards to Broad Street version, I like that one so much better. Okay, I don't really listen to the album version that much, but you know, the album version is still great. Track number 9 is Get It with Carl Perkins. So I don't really go up for the song. Like if I'm listening to the whole album and it plays, like I listen to it, but it just seems to be about a whole lot of nothing. I don't know. I think they were just having fun in the studio. Like it is what it is, but I would have been okay with this not being on the album. Track number 10 is Be What You See, Link. So I feel like this one is necessary as well. And I was confused. Like why did he even put this on the album? And here's what he had to say. The idea was originally that I wanted a few moments on the album where like on a Pink Floyd album, you'll get a sound developing into another sound, and I like that kind of thing. Like where a radio play atmosphere develops. Carl Perkins and I had a joke at the end of Get It and he started laughing. It was genuine laughing, but I wanted the laughing to go on to something more mystical. So I got on a vocoder, which Herbie Hancock, the musician, uses where you play the actual notes with your mouth. And I got into this and it developed like the way you hear in the album mixed into the next track. It's difficult because if you start a short track and it starts to sound good, how do you finish it? It's only a link you're making, but you've got to get out. You can't stay there forever because it was only meant to be a link. We kept it like that with the laughing. Yeah, I just didn't need it. I don't know. I feel like if anything, he could have put it onto the last song, but having it be its own thing, like, it wasn't for me. Track number 11 is Dress Me Up as a Robber. I think it's fine for what it is. Like, it's one that I'll listen to in concerts of the album, not necessarily a favorite or a standout. I mean, there's parts I like whenever he's like, what's the point in changing when I'm happy as I am? I think it can be interesting to listen to sometimes. And other times I'm like, yeah, I want to go to the next track. So it depends on the mood. I don't think it's bad, but there's just better songs. Like, this is another one that could have been cut on the album, in my opinion. Track number 12 is Ebony and Ivory, and so this is going to be the second track with Stevie Wonder on the album. And so this is basically about racial equality, ebony and ivory, like piano keys, black and white. You know, that's kind of what it's about. And so I can say that I honestly enjoyed the song. I feel like I remember listening to it in high school on the bus, like getting ready to go to band competitions and like away games. So like I remember listening to the song and enjoying it. I still do playing it again, like sonically. I think it sounds nice. I think their voices complement each other. I can appreciate the lyrics. With all that being said, is it corny? Absolutely. Okay, I get what they're trying to say, but it is corny. It is corny, okay? So I can kind of see both sides to it. I do like the song and everything. I think it's an upgrade from the last few songs, but you know, that's my honest take. And I will say I like the last part of the song whenever like Ebony, Ivory, living the perfect harmony. Like I think it sounds great. Like their vocals on there, like yeah, they ate. And so about the song, it says, a big hit for Paul and Stevie, Ebony and Ivory is a song about racial equality using the black and white keys on the piano as a metaphor. And exclusively by Paul, he decided it needed to be a duet. I had a song called Ebony and Ivory that I'd written it and I wanted to sing it with a black guy, and my first thought was Stevie. Stevie Wonder didn't need much convincing. I listened to the song and I liked it very much. I felt it was positive for everybody. I won't say it demanded of people to reflect upon it, but it politely asked people to reflect upon life and using the terms of music, the melting pot of many different people. handle. So recapping my favorite songs in the album: Tug of War, Here Today, and Ballroom Dancing. Honorable mention to The Pound is Singing in Wonderlust. And overall thoughts on this album, I would give it like an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. There's a few songs that aren't really for me and knock it down for me, but I think that this is a solid album. I feel like it's underrated in Paul's discography. I think we spend a lot of time kind of talking about Ram, Band on the Run, some of his Wings work, and other albums that he's done in his discography, which are great albums, don't get me wrong. We should talk about Tug of War a little more, okay? This has always been one of my favorite Paul McCartney's albums. I've always had a soft spot for it. Like I said, talking about that album cover, I love it, and what I kind of felt like represented for the album and everything, and I just think it's interesting. And yeah, this was Paul's last good 80s album for a bit, because he kind of flopped after this. He kind of picked it up with like Flowers in the Dirt and everything. But yeah, Paul McCartney has a fair amount of underrated albums. And ever we're talking about Off the Ground, I should probably do a review for that because I really enjoyed that album. Chaos and Creation in the Backyard, I would like to do a review for it and everything. I thought about doing it today, but Tug of War came to mind first, and I kind of already prepared it, so I wanted to do Tug of War and just talk about it a little more. I don't know, I really enjoyed this album. Like I said, it always boils down to 3 things for me: the vocal performances, which I thought were spectacular; the production for the most part, which was pretty good for the time; and I also really enjoyed Paul McCartney's songwriting. I feel like some people underrate Paul McCartney as a songwriter. Yeah, he has some songs that suck. I mean, that's par for the course of every single songwriter. But Paul McCartney has written some of the greatest songs of all time. And I think Paul McCartney deserves everything that he gets as a songwriter, and some people underrate him. I don't know. He's written a lot of great stuff with the Beatles, and after the Beatles, we gotta give some respect where respect is due. But as you guys know, Paul McCartney is one of my favorite artists of all time. So I don't know. I really wanted to do a video on Tug of War. Why not? And so yeah, let me know what you guys think down below of Tug of War. What are your favorite songs? Any memories with the era? Did you see any songs live? Any personal significance to you? And we can kind of have that conversation. But I really enjoyed this album. Yeah, it's fun to do videos on older albums, you know, kind of throwing it back and everything like that. I also really quickly want to talk about my shirt. So I got this Joe Burrow shirt on, and so I found this on TikTok Shop, I believe, and everything. And so yeah, I've never worn it in a video or anything like that, so I figured I'd wear it today. That's gonna be it for the video though. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, give it a like below. It helps me out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate that. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. I'm doing album reviews, album reactions, that type of stuff on this channel. And if you hit the bell, you get notified when I post and not miss when brand new videos come out on this channel. First link down below in the description will be my second YouTube channel. So on there, I just like to talk about trending stuff in pop culture and all that stuff, music industry and everything. Some of my recent videos, I did 2 back-to-back videos of my generational hate series, where I talk about people that I hate because it's about generational hate. I was kind of late, you know, posting everything. I just decided to do 2 back-to-back. So I just did episodes on Travis Scott and Demi Lovato, so you can watch those. I did another thing in my album battle series. I did Rihanna Talk That Talk versus Unapologetic, talk about which album I think is better. I gave my take on Rolling Stone's greatest R&B songs of the 21st century, I believe. And then I also did some bonus stuff. So I talked about Sex and the City. I gave a tier list of the characters. I reviewed Luther Vandross's documentary. I talked about why Daria is goated. I talked about Gracie Abrams is ignorant, and I kind of go into that why in terms of something that she said recently. So that's some of my stuff that I done. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm on a hot streak recently. I feel like I'm really lining it up and making a lot of great things. And I got some great stuff already pre-recorded for you guys and coming out soon. So you can subscribe to the second channel to see more of me. If you want to see more short form content, I upload there all the time. And so I'm also going to have my social media. So I'm on Twitter at the Anastasia25. My backup is at AnastasiaW18. Blue Sky is also the Anastasia25. Instagram, Anastasia.Womack. I have 3 TikTok accounts. My main is going to be Anastasia.Womack. All my videos that you see in my second channel for the most part are my main TikTok account. My second TikTok account is where the rest of them go, typically Anastasia250_. I have a Dance Films account, the Anastasia25, I believe it is. It might have an underscore in it. And so I'll link all those below if you guys would like to follow me on there. I do have earbuds. I think it's Anastasia.155. Spotify if you guys would like to follow me as well on there. We Palestine must educate ourselves on this. Fuck Trump. Y'all know I don't support bigotry. And that'll be it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.